Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Don. This is Rockin' the Country. I've got a gift request of a new artist, Rye Davis, and the song is Monsters. I don't know if this is an original or if it's a cover, but it was a gift from Marlene McKinney. So Marlene, shout out to you. Thank you for this. Marlene's down in Estill County, Kentucky, and I've named her the official music ambassador to Estill County. There's so many amazing artists down there, and Marlene has introduced many of them to us, and Rye is no exception. This is the first time I've done anything of Rye's. So let's see what we've got here. All right, here we go. Let's see what monsters are all about.
1, 2, 3, 4. This old world's full of monsters, hiding in plain sight. It's hard to tell just who's who, or know what's wrong and right. Do what they can to earn your trust before they show their teeth. So now I question everything, not sure what to believe. But it wasn't always like this.
I don't know.
Back when I was young, I knew where the monsters hid, and every day was fun. Right and wrong were clear to see, and I could tell who was my friend. I find myself wishing that I could go back again to paper airplanes and BB guns.
I got arrested with
pocket knives and narrow heads and the innocence of being young. Where was supper time, nursery rhymes, and words that Jesus said, and the monsters lived under the bed. Now it's politics and relationships, mortgages and wars. Sometimes feel like giving up, that it ain't worth fighting for.
Yeah.
But there's another generation, and they're coming after me.
Fact.
Gotta make the world they live in a better place to be. With paper airplanes and BB guns, pocket knives and narrow heads and the innocence of being young. Where was supper time and nursery rhymes and the words that Jesus said, and the monsters lived under the bed. Paper airplanes and BB guns, pocket knives and narrow heads and the innocence of being young. Where was supper time, nursery rhymes, and words that Jesus said, and the monsters lived under the bed. Where was supper time, nursery rhymes, and words that Jesus said, and the monsters lived under the bed.
I don't know if I would even classify that as poetry, but I wouldn't not classify it as poetry. some songs, especially when they're in this setting without, a backing band and all that stuff, where it's acoustic, it's that more often than not, in my mind anyway, qualifies as poetry when you have thoughts presented like this. It's really like about life, as most stories involve stories about life, of course, but this is very personal. Everybody has challenges at every stage of life. I think we forget that. Sometimes we can romanticize our future, but sometimes we romanticize our past too. Thinking about, well, firstly, when you're younger, when you're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, you're still young. You're in the cocoon of your parents are providing food for you and a place to sleep. You don't have to go out and make money. You have to ask them for it. And if they give you an allowance or whatever, that's icing on the cake. But you don't have much say in how anything goes. And that's a challenge. But there's a freedom in it too, where it's like, I don't have to think. And it's like when the Soviet Union broke up, and especially Jews were allowed to leave, but many other folks left the Soviet Union as well, were allowed to leave from the communist regime. Some emigrated to Israel, some emigrated to the United States, some to the UK, France, wherever, more democratic countries or freer countries. And a number of them were not used to having to make a lot of decisions for themselves. And some actually moved back to the former Soviet Union because the decisions that we had, there are so many decisions to be made. And I analogize that to this song, but in his song, it was in a micro sense, his own sense as a child, where you don't have to make a lot of decisions. And there's a certain measure of comfort in that. Things are provided for you. But then as you get a little bit older, you're 9, 10, 11, 12, you want to make more decisions for yourself. But with that comes the responsibility. And then when you're 18, 22, 25 years old, whether you go to college or not, by the time you're 25 generally, you have to be making your own money. You have to be paying for your own apartment, or if you're fortunate enough to make a really good living at a young age, like investment banker or something, buy your own house or whatever. But we can romanticize our past. It's hard growing up. And there's peer pressure. And the kids at school are brutal. Like when you get older, yeah, all right, maybe you get in a bar fight or something like that. And maybe you hear somebody said something nasty behind your back or whatever. But for the most part, people are fairly civil toward one another, regardless of politics or religion. As a kid, it's not that way. If you're overweight, they're going to call you fat. If you're dumb, they're going to call you stupid or whatever. Kids are brutal. So the monsters back then, yeah, they're made up. They're under your bed or what have you. But they're also in the school. And you have to deal with that. You navigate those waters and such. But I get it. I mean, life is hard. And you get older and you've got the pressure. You're trying to please different people. You're, trying to keep your spouse happy in ways. If you have kids, you're trying to take care of them. Then that's into so much more pressure. And then your parents get older and you're trying to spend some time with them if you can before they pass away, let's say. And you've got your boss, and there's a lot of pressure, and I get that. It's in many ways easier when things are provided for you, but we can romanticize how simple things were. Paper airplanes were a lot of fun, but I remember being upset. I bought one of those balsa wood flyers. Back then, they were like 79 cents. Now they're probably still only like $1.79. And you would get them out of the plastic bag, and you put the wing through the thing and the rudder and all this stuff, and you'd fly it. And I remember, and then you'd have to put that little metal clip on the front of it, and it would fly for 5, 6, 7 seconds or whatever. But I remember the one crashed and the wing broke, and I was so upset because I couldn't get it to work. And I remember trying to make a deal with God, like, why won't you make my plane work? Like, I think I was like 5. And this plane, all my emotions were wrapped up, as kids' emotions are, in that airplane, and it didn't work. That to me was very, very real. But we can forget as we get older how upset and how many times we cried when we were a kid because things weren't going our way the way we wanted them to. We couldn't make them go our way. I didn't have money to go out and buy my own new airplane. So whatever, I had to deal with it. And that was my world. And that's everybody's world growing up. But as you become aware, I mean, it's a philosophers and psychologists and sociologists or anybody, human beings, coming of age type story, not just adolescence, but as you grow into adulthood, what is life? And you become aware of your own mortality, and your pets have passed, and your grandparents maybe, and maybe you lose a friend, and it just becomes hard. But trust, it can be a tough one. Yeah, I mean, we've all gotten smoked by people in life, some very, very close to you. I have. But I still remain loyal and trustworthy to people. I'm not going to smoke people. It's just not my style. I mean, the mob has it right in the sense of demanding loyalty. You're going to be loyal. I voluntarily am that way with people. I just am. Like people in my life, I'm not going to smoke them. But I get it. I've been torched, and it makes it hard to trust. And some of the people were very close to me too. So I get what Rye was singing about in here. Yeah, so Marlene, these are the types of songs that get me off and running because there are different sides to a lot of perspectives, but this is one where I understand the heart behind this because, all right, when you're a kid, you get your feelings hurt, and that's your world for a moment or a day or whatever it is, depending on what happened. But as an adult, you can be ruined by somebody you trusted. Whether a spouse, a business partner, family. I know people who have had family steal from them, and you're like, you just don't see it coming. And so the consequences are much more severe when you're older, because then you've got people counting on you. So it's not just your feelings, but it's your ability to provide and feel. And I could feel like a man or feel like a woman, like anything that just can hurt you. So, all right, I'll rate this song, Marlene. And I like the way he sang that. I like just the sincerity of it. Those things work for me. He didn't oversell anything. It wasn't a whiny song. It was just a song where he stayed right in the pocket. So the number I'm coming up with is an 8.7 because I love songs that give me things to talk about life, which I just did. So thank you for that, Marlene. And there you have it. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you on another video, and keep rocking the country and Appalachian country like Rye.